Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on this eye look using the new Jeffree Star Cosmetics Cremated palette, as well as giving you my first impression thoughts on it and how it performed. So if you want to see this look and hear my thoughts, then just keep on watching. Alright guys, so we are going to jump into this first impressions using the Jeffree Star Cremated palette. I'm very excited about this palette. I did not get it on the original launch, but like a little over a week ago, he had like a secret unannounced restock. I saw somebody in a Facebook group that I'm in regarding makeup mention that it was in stock, so I jumped over and I purchased it. The only thing I will say is that this palette is $58, but the shipping was like $14, and to be honest with you, $14 is pretty steep for just one item, I feel like. So that is kind of annoying. I know he does offer free shipping, or I'm pretty sure he does if the total is over a certain amount, but I didn't want to buy things just to avoid the shipping charge, you know what I mean? So I bit the bullet and I ordered this, so it is finally in my possessions. So we're gonna dive right in. I apologize if you can hear the rain and the thunder. This is the only opportunity for me to film this, and it is just terrible weather right now. So sorry about that. So this is what the box looks like. It is like see-through in the lettering, and then the palette looks like this. I'm sure you guys have all seen this at this point, so I'm ready to dive in. The only thing I did was when I received it in the mail, I did open it to make sure no shadows were broken, and luckily they were not. So it does have this like plastic protective layer, but this is what the palette looks like. Very, very beautiful tones. I am really excited about this. I am not going to go in and swatch all of these. If you want to see swatches, Trend Mood usually posts them, and other people do too. I just feel like there's no point. I don't want to make the video longer than it has to be just for swatches, since swatches don't tell you the full story anyway. So anyway, my lid is already primed with my Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, as I always do for any eyeshadow ever. So one thing I will say I really like about this is that this fully bends backward and it doesn't feel like it's stressing the palette out at all. So that is really nice, because then you can like turn it around, and I don't know if you'd really want to do that, but it is nice because it does make it easier to hold. So I'm gonna go in and set down my lid. I guess I will go ahead and I'm gonna use Casket Ready, which is this one. I was kind of between this one or this one, but I think I'll go with this one. So I'm just going to dip into that. There is kick up. I'm just going to tap off the excess on my brush. Right away I can definitely see there is color payoff to this. When I first tapped it on my lid, I could totally see. I don't know how well, actually yeah, you can see. I feel like you can tell that this has something on it. I'm just covering the whole lid area. Alright, so that is the lid set. It is just a very light shade. It's very close to my skin tone, so you're not going to really see it too much on me. But I can definitely tell that there is color payoff to that shade based on how my lids looked before. So I was debating, I think I want to do some kind of, I don't know, this shade right here really speaks to me, but I don't know if I want to go that dark. I guess what I'll go in with first, just get the crease built up, is I'm going to go in with the shade Life Insurance, which is this light gray right here. I think I'm going to take it on a more concentrated crease brush rather than going super fluffy like I normally do. So I'm just going to dip into that. There is kick up, but I am going to coat my brush, tap off the excess. Quite a bit does tap off, so just keep that in mind. And I'm going to just go ahead and start kind of defining the crease area a little bit. You can definitely see color went down. I kind of want to try to shape the eye. I want to do like a cat eye type shape, so I'm just kind of lightly defining the shape that I want. Personally, for me, whenever I think of a smoky eye, I generally think of like grays and blacks. That is like the OG way of thinking of a smoky eye. I know you can do a smoky eye with like any colors, but that is what always comes to mind whenever I hear smoky eye. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. I am bringing this all the way inward as well once most of the product is on the outer portion. So just to give you an idea, you can definitely see it. It is definitely light, so, but even in the pan, it's light. It's a light shade, you know? So I think I'm gonna build up a little bit more on this side just because I don't think it did as much. Alright, so we got that gray shade down. Now I'm gonna just deepen this up a little bit more, and I'm gonna take, or I think I will go in with Solemnly Swear, which is this gray right here. And I'm taking this on like more of a precise brush. Kick up in this shade as well. I'm pretty sure all of these are gonna have kick up, but that doesn't really bother me personally. But I'm really gonna focus on defining out the crease now. Tapping onto the outer corner. As you can see, there's definitely pigment to this shade. I'm just trying to keep the shape that I want. Once most of the product is like spread around, I'm now going over the edge just to kind of soften that up a bit. This shade is definitely pigmented. With any darker shade like this, you want to go in light because it's easier to add than it is to take away. That's always, like, anytime you're going with a black or like just any deep shade, start little because you can always add more. So here's what we got on the lid so far. Everything is blending out really nicely. I know it maybe looks like there's some, like, not patchiness, but something there, but there's not in person. It looks totally fine. Alright, same thing on the other eye. Of course, once I do the lower lash line, everything will connect, so I know it looks a little bit crazy right now, but here's where we're at with those two shades. I really like it so far. I want to just go in with, I'm going to go in with that original shade, which was Life Insurance, and just kind of do very lightly around the edges. Just to, like, you know, of course, keep everything nice and blended. I did not pick up a lot of product of Life Insurance. Very little, just to blend, like I said. Alright, so I do want to go ahead and put, you know what? Let's jump into the lower, I already have my face makeup done, so let's go ahead and jump to the lower lash line just to kind of connect everything before I go in with my lid shade. So I'm going to take my favorite brush for doing lower lash line work, and is the Morphe M506. I've definitely mentioned this on my channel before. It is super nice because it's fluffy, but it's tiny. So I'm going to take Life Insurance, just like we did in the top, and just buff this along the lower lash line to connect everything. And I do want this to be more dramatic and more smoky, so I'm definitely going to focus on building this up. Alright, so here's the lower lash line. I'm definitely going to add that deeper shade. So for the heck of it though, just to use different shades, I'm going to go in with Wednesday. To me, this shade and this shade, the one we used before, are pretty similar. You can see this one is a bit darker, but I think this will definitely do for the lower lash line. So same brush. Let's go in with Wednesday now. So far, again, I'm experiencing quite a bit of kick up in every single shadow. As far as fallout goes, I don't really see a lot. I'm nervous about when I put the shimmery shade on if I will see a decent amount of fallout, but it's fine if I do. I can pretty much usually just brush it away. So again, we're taking Wednesday, and I'm just going to buff this into the lower lash line as well. And I'm connecting everything to the top. Like I said, this look is going to be more smoky and more dramatic. Not something I'd wear to my office job, but I wanted to do something a little bit different than an everyday look. So here is, you can definitely see what a difference Wednesday made compared to life insurance. But look how much better it looks when everything starts to get connected, you know? So same thing on the other eye. So here is the eyes so far. I know it looks a little bit weird because we don't have anything going on in the lid, but Wednesday was a great addition to the bottom. Everything looks very well blended. These shadows, his shadows always do work very, very well. Like I said, I love his formula. So, you know, like I said, this was a bit expensive, especially with shipping, but it's okay because I really do like his formula. So now I would like to go ahead and we're gonna put on our lid shade, and then we can deepen up the outer corner a little bit and kind of wrap up the look. So first I do want to test how the shadows will work with a flat brush. Most of the time I do prefer my finger, but let's just see how it works. So it's on the brush, but I do feel like already I'm gonna probably like it better with the finger. But I'm just gonna start tapping this. Oh, maybe not. It's definitely applying. It's not coming off as, like, it almost looks more like it's not fully having a base. So let me go and try with my finger and see how that looks. So it is building up a little bit better with the finger. However, it does almost seem like, I'm sorry if you couldn't really see me. It does almost seem like it's not as, like, when you saw me swatch, like this, the Death one, they're a different formula, like they're a different type. This one definitely seems to have more of like a base color to it versus this one. But this one, it does look really pretty on the eye, and it's not like you can like see my skin or anything. It's just, you do have to kind of build it a little bit, and it definitely doesn't have as much of a base pigment, it seems like. But it covered very well. I do prefer it with my finger. So here's what the eye is looking like so far. It's very pretty. It's interesting because in the pan it almost looks darker than it looks on the lid. But let me go ahead and do the other eye now. Alright, so here is that pallbearer shade on the lid. So far I think it is super pretty. I do want to deepen up the outer corner and deepen it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my Morphe brush that I was using on the lower lash line, and we will just go ahead and dip into Gravedigger, which is this one right here, and I'm just going to lightly start to deepen up the outer V. I'm being very careful because I don't want to ruin the makeup. Alright, so that is it with Gravedigger. You can tell that it did deepen up a little bit. I just used a tiny bit, honestly. I'm not going in very heavy. And just for fun, to deepen up the outer corner a little bit more, let's take, on a very tiny brush, take some of that Angel of Death shimmer and just kind of add that to the outer corner, because this is super, super pigmented. So I just added a little bit of that. I know it kind of looks a little bit weird on camera, but it does kind of add like a nice little something. I did get some of that pallbearer shade over here when I was putting that on, but here's the look so far. Let me go ahead and just buff into the lower lash line again, and we will go ahead and we'll take Wednesday again, that second shade we used on the lower lash line. And I'm just going to deepen up mostly the outer. As you can see, I am focusing it on the outer and then bringing it in. Alright, so now on the inner corner, I want to go ahead and take, of course, this Diamond Ashes shade. It is super pretty, so I definitely want to take that into the inner corner. I think for the brow bone, just to use something different, I will go ahead and use this shade Afterlife. I know it looks not peachy, but it does have like a different tone to it than the others in this row, but I think it will look nice on the brow bone. It definitely does have some brightening to it. As you can see, there's definitely, it looks more lifted. So I think for like shadow purposes, I think that this looks really, really nice. It's definitely like a gray toned smoky eye. I am gonna add my liner, and I believe I'm gonna do some winged liner and mascara, and then I will come back and we will wrap up my first initial thoughts on this palette. Really quick, I wanted to, just for fun, since obviously I'm doing black liner, I do a black liner, I wanted to go ahead and take just a flat, like, straight brush, and I'm going to go ahead and take that Hearst shade, which is the black, and we're going to just very carefully push this into the lower part of my lashes so that I can try to just make it a little bit extra black. I'm just doing a very, very little bit of it. I don't even know how much of a actually, you can see a bit of a difference, so I'm just pushing it really closely, pretty much like in my waterline. Alright, so now that I have my lipstick, mascara, eyeliner, all of that on, I want to go ahead and jump into my my first impression thoughts on this Cremated palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. By the way, I did use Can't Relate and Posh Spice together along with my Pat McGrath Alien Angelic lip gloss. That's what's on my lips right now. I wasn't sure about the lip color, but it is what it is. I really liked the Alien Angelic because of like the glitters in it. So anyway, upon first use of this palette, and I did use quite a few shades, let me count. I did use like 10 of the shades. No, I didn't use them all to the same degree, but I did use about 10 of the shades, and all of the ones I used, they really did work nicely. I will say I was a little bit surprised by Pallbearer and how it was like applying at first. Like I was mentioning while doing the tutorial, it almost seemed like it doesn't have a ton of base color in comparison to like Death Certificate, but they do seem to be different types of shimmers. I still think Pallbearer is a beautiful shade. As you can see, it provides a really nice shine to the lid. I really do like it. Next time, I think I will use like one of these other types of metallic shades. Maybe I'll use Death Certificate next time, which is this one. You know, just to try something different. I do have other looks in mind with this palette. I really think like these three over here would go really nicely together. So you will definitely be seeing more looks with this palette. I know I say that with every palette that I do, and a lot of times I do try to not repeat so much, but I probably will do another video soon with this because I feel like I could get a really pretty like everyday kind of look with this. This is not a makeup look I would necessarily wear to like my office job, but I would definitely wear this out if we could go out right now anywhere. But I do think it's really pretty, and I would actually feel comfortable like wearing this out kind of in my everyday. I don't think it's too over the top, but it's definitely a little bit different than what I normally do. I normally always stick to my neutral brown look, so this is totally something different for me, and I'm really excited about it. Like I said, so far everything is blending out really nicely. I have not had a negative experience with any Jeffree Star shadows that I've used. So, like I said, I definitely love his formula. I think it's great. Now, again, the shipping to get this to me was very expensive. I think after the shipping, this ended up being around like $72, $77, somewhere in there, because it was $58 for the palette and then like 14 something for the shipping. Now, luckily, I know a lot of people with the first initial launch, when this first came out, it took weeks for them to get their palette. I ordered this on like the secret restock that nobody knew about. It just popped up. It was a Thursday. I think it was like a little over a week ago, and then I got it by the next Wednesday. So I did get this pretty quick compared to what other people were experiencing with the first launch. So I think his secret restocks are almost the way to go, just because you don't have as many people on the website at once. But of course, if he did it secretly, then some people would not know about it and they'd miss out. I only found out about it because of somebody in a makeup group that I'm in. They had mentioned that it was available. So unless you were like actively checking the site, then you wouldn't have really known. So anyway, Yes, so I'm very happy I picked this up so far, no regrets. I am very excited to continue to use it. Now, I will say that it seems like, for example, I used Solemnly Swear up in the crease, and I used Wednesday on the lower lash line. I don't think you can see like a major difference really between the two shades. They do look different in the pan, but they're not hugely different, and on the eyes, I don't think you would really be able to notice that they're totally different shades. Now, of course, at this point in the look, I mixed other things in, but even when I was applying it, I think they went together really well. You couldn't tell a big difference, which again, in the pan, you can't see a huge difference either. So some people may see this as a negative, some people as a positive. To me, I don't mind having a bunch of shades, even if a couple seem like they're pretty close, just because I would almost rather have more than enough shades than not enough shades, if that makes sense. Now, I know a lot of people were saying that he easily could have made this just like an 18 pan or even a 9 pan palette. This is the same size as Jawbreaker, which I do not have, but this is bigger than like Blood Sugar, for example. Could he have maybe gotten away with just doing like a Blood Sugar size with this? Probably, but honestly, all of the shades in here I love. Like, I love the look of them. I don't think any, I mean, yes, like I said, a couple of these, once they're on the eye, you can't really tell a huge difference, but I mean, if you think about this, if this was a palette that you were going to use every single day, let's say you really loved Solemnly Swear and you hit pan on it or you ran out of it, well then Wednesday can do the same job and it can kind of create the same effect. So you can kind of think of it in that regard. Now, I will probably never hit pan on this or any palette that I own just because I have so many, but I really do so far enjoy this look. Like I said, I really want to do like an everyday kind of look with this, although like I said, this was meant to be dramatic and it is more dramatic than what I normally do, but I just really love the way it turned out. I literally don't want to take this makeup off. I think it looks so pretty, and this just has such a beautiful sparkle. I don't know how well you'll be able to really see it on camera, but there's such a beautiful sparkle to this shade. So like I said, overall, I'm really happy with it. The blendability was effortless. I mean, if I wasn't filming a video and kind of like playing around with the colors, if I was just going in with the sole purpose of getting a look done quickly, I think I could definitely do that with this palette, even though it is like a lot of darker shades. Now, of course, if I'm gonna use the black, which I did stamp a little bit of it right on my like lash line just to deepen up my eyeliner a little bit, I don't think it made a huge difference because I really didn't want to screw up the look by putting too much. But if I were to go in with the black shade or even maybe like this, obviously I would want to take my time and be careful. You want to, of course, build up with your dark shades and not try to blend out, if that makes sense. So I always go in with a light hand and I tap off. Now, as I was mentioning through the tutorial, pretty much every single shade that I used did have kick up. So what I was doing was I was dipping in and tapping off, and there was excess coming off my brush. If I hadn't have tapped off, I could see there being a ton of fallout on my face and maybe it getting a little bit more messy than I would have liked. This is standard for me though whenever I do my makeup. If I see a shade is more powdery or like it has a lot of kick up, for example ABH palettes, I always tap off my brush. It's just habit at this point because it gets off any of that excess. And like I said, you can always go in with more. It's a lot harder to take away. And especially for me in my skill set, which is not very great. My skills are not like makeup artist level. It's much easier for me to add more than it is to kind of try to blend away excess. So just keep that in mind if you are using this palette, to just go in slowly, you know, take your time, enjoy the process. So far upon first impressions, I'm really liking this. Like I said, I mean, I love Jeffree Star's eyeshadows, so if you are typically a fan of his shadows, then I think this would be a safe bet. You know, it is just a gray toned palette. Personally, I don't have anything like this already in my collection, which is surprising. Most of my palettes are all warm, and I don't think many of this exact type of palette exist. I will say my like Naked Smoky palette is this type of scheme, but already off the bat, I definitely enjoy using this more than I do my Naked Smoky, which I do like that palette, but I think his formula is just different. It's different than Urban Decay. And the shadows are very soft and blendable. I mean, I'm kind of just going in circles here, but so far, first impressions, I really like it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think it would be very easy for you to recreate on your own. Again, I'm no makeup artist, so if I can do it, you can definitely do it, because I am just like an everyday consumer of makeup. But I will pretty much wrap up my thoughts there for this first impression. So if you are not already subscribed, don't forget to do that before you go, and also give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!